Now, unlike my taste in music, these videos can probably get with the times a bit more. So this one is all about how to counter Zoom fatigue or Teams fatigue. And a lot of it will also be relevant for when you're a member of the audience for an online presentation as well. So firstly, when you're giving an online presentation, make sure that you ignore yourself. If you're anything like me and you're on camera, it's very tempting to keep on looking down in the corner, just check out quite how beautiful you are today. Now, when you're looking at yourself in a mirror or whatever, it actually takes up a lot of cognitive processing power, and you don't want that going on while you're giving a presentation. So just resist the temptation to look at yourself. Secondly, equally, ignore your audience, or at least those members of your audience who also have their cameras on. When you're on a Teams call or a Zoom call, you spend a lot more time looking at people's faces, unconsciously trying to make eye contact with them, than you do if you're in a room with people, when you're looking around, looking at other things. Prolonged eye contact is a stressor. It's a sort of primitive confrontation thing. Also, when you're giving an online presentation, your audience, they're not going to be giving you any verbal feedback on how you're doing in the moment. And they're unlikely to be giving you much, if any, non-verbal cues as well. So that can very easily make you feel self-conscious. You sort of get to the stage where you wonder if your voice echoing in the void is the only thing in the universe, and you really don't want that going on when you're giving a presentation. So to avoid these, you simply behave as you would if you were giving a presentation in the real world. Look around. By all means, scan the faces of your audience on the screen as you would in a room full of people. Just don't fixate on any one individual. Thirdly, ignore the instinct to be quite immobile when you're presenting. When you're presenting online, on camera, it's very easy to be conscious of the fact that you're framed and you don't want to move out of the frame. This sort of rigidity is very unnatural, which in turn impedes your thinking. You won't be thinking so smoothly, so easily, and that will trip up your presenting. If you're really unlucky, your brain's going to start wondering, hang on, am I in freeze mode here? If so, what's the threat out there? All these things you don't want going on when you're giving a presentation. So how do you counter this? Well, what I suggest, what the best thing to do is you move your chair back, maybe further than you think is kind of appropriate when you're presenting online. It just gives you a bit more breathing space, a bit more thrashing room, and you won't feel quite so restricted. Now, there is an opposing school of thought on this, which is when you're presenting online, your face should take up a certain proportion of your audience's screen, blah, blah, blah. I just think on balance, it's much more important for you to be relaxed and comfortable. That way you're going to give the better presentation. So just move that chair back. Now, those are three things that you should ignore. This last one, you definitely shouldn't ignore, which is the very first of these videos that I put up. It's called Show or Tell. Now, if you're giving a presentation and you're going to be using slides, it's really crucial that you don't put the slide up until you're ready to start talking about it. If you put it up sooner, you're going to lose your audience. They're going to read the slide. And then when you get onto the slide, when you catch up with them and start talking about the slide, they're not going to listen to you either because they think they know what's coming. Equally, once you finish talking about a slide, get rid of it. Bring the audience back to your lovely, lovely face. If you don't do that, they're going to get distracted. They're going to check emails. They're going to start looking up recipes for tonight's meal, whatever. Now, there is an unconscious instinct that it's not even with a face. It's actually just with the eyes. If you see a pair of eyes, you're drawn to engage with them. So bring your audience back to your face, those lucky people, and they're going to be much more likely to stay with you than if you just leave the slide up. People start drifting. And of course, if you bring it all back to you, that will give you another opportunity to check out quite how hot you look down in the corner there. Okay, that's all for today.